Hi, everyone. I'm Emily Crow, multimedia editor at Progressive Grocer. Welcome to Top Women in Grocery, a podcast focused on the topics, trends, and interests moving women forward in grocery retail. We're spotlighting extraordinary women in the grocery industry who have had successful careers and interesting lives, and who are also making a positive impact in their workplaces and in their communities. I'm here today with Morgan Drummond, Senior Director of Private Label at Misfits Market. Morgan has more than 15 years of experience in product development, category strategy, and mentoring teams. Her background in food science and passion for innovation and strategic thinking have shaped her into a well-rounded merchant skilled in navigating all stages of a product's life cycle. Morgan, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Emily. Thank you so much for having me.
Great. To start, tell me a bit about your career journey and how you landed in your current role with Misfits Market.
Sure. Well, when I was growing up, I was not one of those kids who was dead set on what I was going to be. I changed my mind a lot of different times, and probably like a lot of women around our age, I wanted to be a vet. I wanted to be a marine biologist. None of that happened, but I like to think of my career journey as a series of really fortunate happenstance occurrences that I just learned to roll with and be fluid with. So when I was in college for a major that I ended up changing, I underwent some health issues in school, and through my recovery with that, I really learned to appreciate the impact of nutrition. So that spawned this deep appreciation for nutritional sciences, and thus shaped my undergrad career. And I graduated with my degree in nutrition, but then thought, I don't really want to go the dietitian route, and thought back of what courses I took in my nutrition undergrad journey that I really liked, and that brought me to food science. So I was really fortunate to have the support of my family to continue my education, and so I leaned into food science and really dug into that for my master's degree. And during my master's program is when I landed my first job in the industry, hairnet, lab coat, the whole shebang, working as a food scientist for a co-manufacturer. And I completed my degree, was on that journey for a bit, cut my teeth in the industry, being behind the scenes and being very technical. And then life happened, a series of events happened that brought my family back to Austin, where I'm from. And I thought, gosh, where better to continue my career in Austin than Whole Foods Market? And I grew up going to Whole Foods as a treat as a kid, and thought, it'd be like winning the lotto if I landed a job there. And I found a job opening for a product development position for the private label team, which I really did not know much about at the time. And I thought back to what my parents have said about playing the lotto, like you can't win if you don't play, and thought, to heck, I'll throw my name in the ring for that. And things just really worked out, and I landed that role there. Started an 11-year journey at Whole Foods Market, completely on the private label team, going from product developer to director over a third of the private label sourcing team when I left 3 years ago. And at Whole Foods, I was so grateful to really get a masterclass in natural product development, building and contributing to the growth of a gold standard private label brand, and learning from amazing mentors and amazing processes too. And so about 3 years ago is when this opportunity here to head up private label at Misfits Market presented itself, and just really saw a really great opportunity to take these best practices that I knew from my previous career and really apply them to also a very purpose-driven retailer that is really trying to change the status quo, but but really make an impact myself and being creative and kind of wearing all the hats that I've learned to wear in the past, but do it in a really fun, unique way that nobody else is really doing in the industry. And so here I am.
Great. So you started Misfits Market's odds and ends private label product line from scratch. What can you tell me about that process? It must have been such a big undertaking.
Yeah, so the timing of it was really interesting. Right around the time that I started, the very first few items of odds and ends were just starting to launch, just a handful of basic pantry staples, really high quality coffees that were directly traded. But really, I had this blank slate to come in and continue building this brand and having the amazing support of our executive leadership team to really capitalize on this opportunity. All retailers see when it comes to own brand, and it's been really fun. So I am the head of a small team. We are super nimble and, like I said, get to act in all the different capacities, and it really keeps every day different. But when I came in, it was really about trying to flip what I've learned in the past and think, okay, previously I would only be paying attention to like the very best of the best products that met very, very strict high quality standards. But in doing so, it also illuminated these opportunities of, well, when we or other retailers reject something for even very minor cosmetic appearances, what happens to that? And so now it's really interesting to be part of the other side of the conversation and be part of the solution for so many manufacturers and CPG companies in the industry, and be a nimble partner to them, but also be really creative to think, okay, yes, we want odds and ends to continue building out our non-produce assortment and offering really high quality, better for you products, organic where possible, at a great value. But where can we really lean into where these inefficiencies exist in the food system and putting a creative twist on it and really leveraging that as our ability to partner with so many amazing supplier partners. So what was really interesting that happened about half a year after I started at Misfits was we acquired and merged with Imperfect Foods, who was sort of our West Coast competitor, if you will, for a while, but very similar ethos. And at the time of the acquisition, I was just starting new product development and executing on that for odds and ends. But then I'm inheriting this very robust private label program from Imperfect Foods. So I definitely had to pause and pivot and think, okay, like what makes sense? How can we keep this cohesively? Where there are issues, and trying to really think ahead of preventing some risk as we combine assortments. And it was such a blessing in disguise to be able to go through it, because that just elevated what we had set out to do at odds and ends, and also accelerated what our plans were too. So it was really fun to come through the combined assortment, make it very holistic, and then also finish a rebrand of all Imperfect into odds and ends in a really fun and colorful way that we really have conviction pays homage to the best of both programs as they initially were.
Wonderful. And digging into that a little more, Misfits Market has 60 new private label products in development. Mm-hmm. What sort of data, trends, analytics, what kind of research does your team use to inform those sorts of items that you're rolling out?
Sure. Well, like most retailers, we're trying to use all the external syndicated data available to us, spends, et cetera. But then also exploring, we get a lot of leads just through having conversations with our suppliers and really getting out to the trade shows and What I and my team like to say is we don't know what we don't know, and we cannot be experts in every type of production process and be able to anticipate where there are those inefficiencies or broken pieces that happen. And so a lot of it is really having conversations with suppliers as we're exploring product formats that we see the opportunity gap to get into, of course, in different categories. But like, what are you experiencing? Are you experiencing waste? And in an ideal world, this wouldn't be an opportunity to explore, but it is what it is. And that is what's going on for several suppliers and CPG companies. So just having those conversations and getting out there at trade shows really helps uncover some opportunities to even then connect the dots to some of our produce suppliers that may have some blemishes to the fruit, and our produce team has amazing connections in the industry, but then connecting them with a juice company to then utilize that in the cold press fresh juice. So there's that. And then we also are really trying to tap into our own customers too. We recently, with our marketing and consumer insights teams, we've really been engaging a lot with our customers this year, doing polls with them and really trying to hear from them, what do they want to see? And even recently, we saw some common trends that we've been seeing in the industry too. Of course, plant-based protein, just more protein in general, but then also hearing of specific interests with pistachios and chickpeas, especially. So little nuggets like that to engage with our customers, and then be able to put that in the pipeline and show them, hey, we're listening. And we recently did that with one of our newest product launches, a potato gnocchi. There's not an upcycled element to it, but it is a fantastic, high quality, fresh potato gnocchi. And it's something our customers said that they wanted to see, and we were able to execute on it very quickly.
So how do you ensure that those new products have their own differentiation, but remain true to the Misfits Market brand?
Yeah, it's a great question. And as private label on brands continues to perform in the industry, the topic amongst all the retailers is, well, what makes your private label different than this private label? Mm-hmm. We're all on this quest to put our own spin on it because we're past the Me Too generic era. Right. And where we really see the opportunity at Misfits is to really lean into where we can and authentically can, is to find and prioritize those new product development concepts that allow us to feature rescued ingredients or rescued product. And then being an online only retailer, we have all this amazing virtual real estate and capability to then tell those stories and leverage reels on Instagram or TikToks to put the, peel back the curtain into what happens in the manufacturing of certain products and how we can step in and rescue that. So when it comes to odds and ends, how I like to pose it is that the odds are those still better for you products, and that where we can, we're really prioritizing like a fresh ravioli that uses rescued pecorino cheese from one of our own cheese suppliers that they were left with when one of their other customers backed out of a big order. But then the ends are those better for you high quality staples. So we would be remiss to not offer to our customers, and it helps provide for a more well-rounded staple assortment and keeps them coming back for their basics like our butter and our organic pasture-raised eggs, but then they can get some really great products like rescue cheese ravioli or rescue pretzel bites, and throw those into their cart for that sense of discovery while helping authenticate our mission.
Great. So obviously, using rescued ingredients is a tenet of sustainability. How else is the brand leaning into sustainability during a time when other companies are shifting their focus a little?
Yeah, so I like to think of sustainability as a diamond with a lot of facets. It's not just a coin because there's so many facets, there's not two sides. And so, yes, organic, even non-GMO, regen ag, though fair trade, there's social responsibility aspects too that support sustainability. Those are all part of the equation. But nobody else is really leaning into upcycling, a flexible spec when it comes to cosmetic imperfections, but then educating the customer that this is there's no difference in quality. You're actually helping support a better food system. And that's where we really lean into because nobody else is doing that. And I'm really proud of the fact that Misfits Market, we are the retailer with the leading amount of upcycled certified products in our private label. So even more than the bigger guys. So that's where we're able to leverage our flexibility and our nimbleness to partner with suppliers from all over to support that. But even regardless of that, beyond upcycling rescued ingredients, it is important to think about the entire sustainability facet. So we also have supplier partners, they're small woman-owned brands. We have small family-owned pasta facilities that we partner with. So a lot of it comes down to knowing who you're partnering with and what their missions are, and making sure that we're staying in the same conversations as those like-minded partners in the industry.
Well, that is a perfect segue for my next question. I was going to ask about private label partnerships and how Misfits Market chooses partners that have those similar missions and ideologies. How do you go about doing that?
Well, it's really important that we're partnering with suppliers and companies that they see the value in partnering with us as a flexible partner to help them accomplish their goals too. So being very value centric is always really appealing to us, and we love those supplier partners that are very open to being partners with some of our other suppliers too, like the conversations I mentioned earlier between produce and juices, or cheese crumbs and bits with ravioli. So putting them together, and I think that's also indicative of the shift in the private label industry. It used to be very secretive. You didn't talk about who you were doing business with, and I think it's very important that we're open to those conversations, and it's really those types of collaborative partnerships that aren't just one way, where we've seen some of our biggest impact come from. Yes.
Great. Well, shifting away from business, a little birdie told me that you're one of only a handful of extra virgin olive oil savants in the US, which is so cool. What was your path toward becoming a savant, and how does that skill set lend itself to the work that you do now?
Yeah. Well, that is my my icebreaker or party trick, if you will.
I can see why.
Whenever I need to pull something out. But no, that I'm so thankful for that opportunity, and it came out of my time at Whole Foods during the several years that I was managing private label oils and a lot of imported products, and it really was rooted in my own leader, my female leader at the time. She was really great about helping others uncover their individual superpowers. And of course, like, if I can make a great living going to school all day, every day, and just getting new degrees all the time, I would do it. I love learning. And that's something I've continued to take with me from college, and also applying that. And at the time, as a merchant over a very large and important category, I thought I want to be the best merchant I can and really, really be able to speak to the nuances. And there's so much to learn in different commodities like olive oil. And so I had the support of my leadership, and then also the encouragement to leverage my resources and my community around me, including, my industry friends. And I went to this course, extra virgin olive oil savants course, and it was a very intensive few-day workshop, a lot of tasting of olive oil. And my heart was probably so healthy after that with all the unsaturated fats. And I exceeded my own expectations of what I hoped to get out of that, and was really just blessed to have the support and feel like the love of my team and my friends when I came back with that achievement. And that really helped uncover this path of an appreciation too of leaning into your own individual superpower. And it's sort of like retailers talking about what's their differentiator with their private label. We as individuals and team members and leaders, individual contributors, we can all have our own differentiators that help us personally and professionally. And it's something I continue to lean into, and has opened up a lot of opportunities for me as I continue to grow my career, and I continue to want to continue my education in that field. And it also inspires me to help do that for my team and those around me, and be a little bit more attuned into what makes Emily tick? What are you passionate about? And how is that something that can help uncover, support your own development goals and that of my team? So it's, I like to continue exploring it for myself, but also leveraging that as a way to support others in the field, whether it's, a skill or a software or an area of the industry. I'm very passionate and bullish about just continuing to learn.
What a wonderful piece of advice to lean into your own superpower. I don't think we always look at ourselves as having a superpower, but I'm over here thinking, okay, what can I lean into next? I love that.
Thank you.
And you mentioned a little bit of a mentor relationship, but we love talking about that here on the podcast. What can you tell me about the mentorship relationships you've been part of, from the mentor or mentee perspective?
I've been so fortunate to have amazing mentors in my career, and many of the women, some of the men too. Like one of my most fantastic mentors, he's a man in the industry and just the most wonderful boss that I've ever had. But I think it's very important that we are, as individuals, thinking about our own path and our own development, and not relying on opportunities to be handed to us or be provided. And it's important I've heard this once before from another female leader at another e-com retailer. And she was like, it's important to be the CEO of your own professional development. And I love that, because it's very true. Yes. But then as leaders, it's also important that we help remove those roadblocks or barriers to our team and pursuing that. So mentorship is always important to me, whether it's formalized mentor programs or informal relationships, which I tend to have more of here in my current capacity at Misfits. But I'm continuing to try to accumulate resources, and throughout the industry, what other resources are there, not just for me, but for my team, for my colleagues or other industry friends, and connecting the dots. So I've recently pursued involvement with a peer-to-peer women leadership mentor circle through One Step Closer. And that's been a fantastic support of senior female leaders. And we're able to bounce ideas off and not just talk professionally, but also explore topics that are really relevant to this life stage that many of us are going through right now. Because there's also that piece that I don't think gets talked about a lot. Mm-hmm. So it's great to have that space and perspective to do that. But then also at trade shows or other industry organizations, I'm involved with Women Impacting Store Brands Excellence. My team member is part of one of those mentor circles. But then at the PLMA trade show every November in Chicago, the last few years, I've had the privilege to walk as a retailer mentor to university students, either in food marketing, food science, et cetera, but showing some sort of interest in the private label field. And it's, aside from the connectivity with my industry friends, my own team, just having those 2 to 4 hours to walk with them and see the industry through a fresh set of eyes. It kind of reminds me of, reliving holidays or seeing cities through your child's eyes. Like that sense of newness is really invigorating. And so it's just a way to pay it forward to the new generation. It fulfills me quite a bit.
Great. Well, Morgan, thank you so much for sharing your wonderful insights and for being here with us today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the conversation and the opportunity.
Thank you. For more information about the Top Women in Grocery podcast, please visit www.progressivegrocer.com/podcasts. You can also subscribe to this series wherever you typically listen to podcasts, including on Apple, Google, and Spotify. Finally, do you have an idea for a Twig podcast topic? I'd love to hear from you. Email me at ecrow@ensembleiq.com. See you next time, and thanks so much for listening.